Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Council Sessions, where we ask the most biggest and most what do we say?
Mind-boggling,
Mind-boggling questions
whatever.
of the galaxy. I'm David Cottingham with my co-host, of course, Case Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
So, Case, there's a little bit of rumors going around, and I thought this might be a good time to talk a little bit about what those rumors centered around. Right now, there's rumors out there that really brief, nothing much, but that there's some development going on with a certain character that we know very little about, which is Darth Bane.
Right.
Now, we do know a lot about him with some novels, but those novels are no longer canon.
Right.
So the only appearance we have of Darth Bane is from the Clone Wars episode Sacrifice, which we saw a Yoda going to what was it, Morban?
Morban. Yeah.
And witness or see a vision of the spirit of Darth Bane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned to me right before we recorded that his actual one of his first mentions was in the novel of Episode 1.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm pretty sure. Okay, please, people out there, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was his first ever mention. Was
I think
in reference to the Rule 2, Darth Bane Rule 2. That whole thing. That's where it started.
I think you're right. Because his apprentice Darth Zana was actually mentioned in that novel as well. The novel from Terry Brooks, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So just got us thinking a little bit, and not whether or not the rumor's true or not, but basically, if we're going to get a Darth Bane story, which I think a lot of people would like to see, the question is, how do we want to see that story unfold? Basically, in what medium do we want to see that story? Is it a film? Is it a Disney Plus series? Is it comics? Is it novels? Is it games? You have all of these options. And to be honest, you could probably use them all if you wanted to.
Sure.
But what do you think is the best way to tell a Darth Bane story?
Man, I think, and this is just kind of like the way I think so many Star Wars stories, I don't know why it's hard for me to say. Star Wars stories are going to be told is through Disney Plus. I think that is just, I think that's the best for me. I mean, I guess me personally as a consumer, not just because I think episodic format, I guess maybe the best way to say it. And this day and age, that's streaming, so it has to be Disney Plus. So episodic format, I guess I'll safely say that, because it's Darth Bane. He's a big deal. So and what he represents for that Rule 2, or maybe now it's Rule by 2 kind of thought ideology, whatever. So I think that is very important to introduce in such a very wide breadth of stories that only a show could accomplish. A movie like a trilogy would be awesome, of course. I think you could, with a budget, you can, and that's it's Darth Bane, so it's kind of in the Sith heyday. With a film budget, you can make some really amazing wars, Sith wars kind of thing. But Mandalorian, I think, is pushing the boundaries with the budgets for TV shows and effects. So I think you can, Game of Thrones. So I think you can do some pretty great war sequences in an episode and TV show or streaming show format. But yeah, it's Darth Bane, man. So you need to, I think we need to really get to know him, and that's through a show.
So that was that was going to be my next question to you, was show, so live action, not animated.
Oh, yes, I would say that, yeah. But I mean, yeah, gosh, I love it if they use him in other mediums and formats. I think that would be awesome. But I would say maybe the first introduction should be live action. for him.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. So I was on the fence. I'm with you that it has to be. It has to. I feel like there's a big story there because not only is it the story of the formation of the rule of two or rule by two, but the fact that he is what we think we know is he's the lone survivor of the Sith once the Jedi Sith wars end, 1,000 years before episode 1. So you could start this story with a very young Darth Bane.
Sure.
Or whatever his character, whoever his name is prior to taking the mantle, or even back then, that might be his name, right? I think he might be the original Darth. Therefore,
it's all new now. They can do whatever they want.
That would make sense. He's the first Darth, so then all the other preceding Sith take the name Darth, or succeeding, but. But you have the story of him growing up, or how he gets trained, and why he's so powerful and stuff like that. I don't know. You could still have the story of Jedi. So there's a lot going on there. And so my first inclination was, I feel like it has to be a comic series, because you can go a long time telling that story in comics, and you can visually get of the look of him, and the look of the era, and the look of the locations and whatnot. But then I want moving pictures, right? So to me, the only way you can do that with that long form is probably animated form. Now, so ultimately what I would want is I would want a CG, like true CG, like we did that short, like they did that short Squadron.
Oh, yeah.
Like I want that as a Darth Bane story.
Man,
I want a CG series like that. So, and you could do 22-minute episodes like Clone Wars, but just make them look like that.
That would be, talking about something new. It's like, doing in that quality. Gosh, that would be incredible.
But the question becomes, because that's where I was kind of struggling. The question becomes, it's probably, I would almost guess, it's probably cheaper to do it the way you're talking about doing it than it is doing a CG.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with the volume and how they can save on the production there. You can really make a good looking. I feel like because again, like you said, scale of TV shows has definitely gotten bigger. They're pushing the envelope with the volume, since they don't have to actually physically build these sets anymore. It's all digital, but you can't tell because it's background. Allows you to still create practical around the actors. But in a story like this, you have to have really big scope. You have to have you're probably at Coruscant a lot. You're probably at whatever Sith empire that was created from either Morban or Malachor or whatever. There, I don't know, wherever.
There's
several Sith locations. So it's probably, the scale is probably pretty big, but again, by the time that maybe they work on this, you've moved into that realm of being able to afford doing a series like this at that kind of scale. So I struggle between, if it's affordable, if it's cheaper to do the animated, like I would live with that. But I mean, if it's cheaper to do the live action, make a live action series. But then, you probably get, with the cast list you have to create, I don't know, it's a lot to ask probably. So I would probably more so right now lean towards a CG series in the vein of the Squadron's CG short we got, Hunted.
Yeah, I think animation in some form you probably have a better chance of getting it made, not having to deal with too much Hollywood this. But
Right.
I think it'll be a good. It's going to be such a good experiment to see whenever Ahsoka shows up finally in live action, if it's Mandalorian or whatever. But to see that progression, it's like, okay, that's a character who started animation, now she's live action. How does that translate? So if Bane is first introduced animation and builds up a huge reputation, then it's like a no-brainer. Well, we got to get him into other mediums, like a movie or TV show. I think that's a cool. Hopefully, that stage is being set to where that can happen. We can have this character transcend everything. And
Yes.
as long as they're done well. But yeah, I think it's just that first introduction is pretty key. And
it is.
Well, like Thrawn, I guess Thrawn might be a better example since he's a villain. Reintroduced / introduced for a lot of people, but if rumors are swirling about him showing up somewhere, but so that will be probably the more perfect example of a huge villain transcending the different mediums. So Bane, gosh, yeah, he could become, if again, that's a prequel, so it's like, gosh, you can only do so much unless they bring him back, they make him jump timelines and bring him back in current era. I don't know, but I think that would need to be pretty huge.
But you're right. But that's why I think you have to focus on pretty much his life prior to him being the last Sith, because once he's the last Sith, he's in hiding at that point, and he's trying to build, behind the scenes, right? What did he accomplish during his Sith life when there were thousands of Sith? When they were constantly fighting the Jedi, it would be cool to see him rise to the ranks of all of them. Maybe they're at that point. I think he's before that though. Revan and Malik and all those.
They're sticking with that old.
But what if you brought them into this era?
Oh, sure.
And finally introduced Revan and them in this era.
Yeah,
the same era as Darth Bane, and maybe there's that competition, and maybe Revan, gets killed and takes over, right? I don't know. There's so much because I think the rise of Darth Bane is, because that would just, think about it, that would just lend so much more credibility to the eras that we know of now. Why the Sith are so powerful? How have they become? How did they last this long? It's because the foundation and the beliefs of Darth Bane, like you said, he could become a major character, and not just this era, but across all the way to Episode 9. Because he was the originator of the Rule of Two, establishing the Sith. And here's the thing too, is what could be a killer twist. Maybe Yoda isn't the only species that lives 900 years. What if Bane
that's
lives
totally
along being behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, that's totally been in my mind. Thinking too, like, what would that story be like? Because I'm not usually the one who clings to stories that where your villain is the main character, even though it's been done well so many times. But I'm not initially, drawn to that. But it can be done definitely. But so I keep thinking, like, so I feel like you would need to show, if it is also the rise of Bane, it should also be the rise of another hero. I feel like that's kind of the good balance. And I thought, like, you saying Revan makes me think, well, if they do that storyline, that would be pretty cool. I wonder if almost like the first season would be Darth Revan, Darth Bane, almost like Anakin, Obi-Wan, but the other spectrum, dark side, brothers, because the story of Revan in the game is that, but that's kind of the spoiler. If for those of you who haven't played KOTOR, is that you start the game off as this Republic guy has amnesia, basically. And spoiler is that you find out you are Darth Revan, converted by the Jedi, essentially. And then that's where you have the role playing, is do you go to the dark side, do you go to the light side? So they could take us to where it's Revan who, it's Darth Revan, but at the end of the first season, he gets pulled into the light, and then he's now the hero of the rest of the series, while it's now Revan and Bane against each other, light side, dark side.
Oh man, that's good.
That's your hero and villain, and because there's so many other characters in that game, it's like that's that could be your show. Is then that, but I like thinking though. I think there's a way to do it where this show can go past the Sith wipeout, and so it is Darth Bane in the role of 2, but he isn't hiding. So I feel like there's got to be a way that maybe there's a good way to do it where Bane is just working behind the scenes. Then he's just trying to rebuild, whereas you have the Jedi who are trying to so it's like. Because that's got to also lead up to the High Republic, where after this war, it's almost like the Jedi are rebuilding while the Sith is quietly rebuilding.
That's right. That's right.
So I feel like that would be cool to see as well. Mm-hmm. Like the peak and then the fall and then the rebuild towards High Republic.
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of cool. But
I love that.
I don't know how that wouldn't be.
Yeah, but I love that. I love that story, with Revan, but here's another twist, because you talk about hero, because what if Darth Bane is that hero? What if his real name is Darth Bane and he was actually a Jedi first, and Revan pulled him over,
swap sides. We've seen that. That's good.
So think about this, because again, this could have lasting impression to the era that we're in. Is if Revan is leading all of the Sith, Darth Bane is a Jedi master or whatever, a Jedi Knight master, and constant war going on. But then, and I don't want to get too similar to Anakin, but Bane is starting to see that this Jedi are making mistakes and they're going against their code. And Revan is obviously using that to pull him over. And so, so maybe what if Bane says, okay, one last ditch effort. Let me fall. I will fall. So I can get in with the Sith, and then we can destroy them from the inside. But when he falls, something happens to where this final war, finally takes place between Jedi and Sith, and everything gets wiped out. And he sees the Jedi do something wrong in a sense, so he blames them, or he has this death grudge against them, and that's why the formation of the 2 happens. Why the Sith are now in hiding, because now it's his plot to destroy the Jedi, years and years later or whatever, right? Which is what Palpatine ultimately ends up doing. I don't know, cool. I just was thinking of a way to tie it in. Like, how do you make him responsible for which he kind of is already, but directly responsible. What grudge does he have against the Jedi, other than just being a Sith and hating the Jedi? What did the Jedi do to him to make him do what he did? And you're right. Could he survive long enough to be a catalyst of something that happens in the High Republic?
Yeah, I love shows that. Talking about Revan, it's like Revan's the villain at first, and then he pulls Darth Bane over to the Sith, but then it swaps with them. Like maybe Revan could be pulled by the Jedi. It's like, I love that. And then I especially love shows that redeem the villains. I like redeemable villains. A lot of shows do that nowadays. I think like Negan, right? It's kind of one of them. And then Arrow does that with some of their villains. And so many shows do that with their villains, where they become they can become such great heroes. Yes, as well. So that would be pretty cool to see. Yeah, that would be like a complete 180 of both sides. Wild, yeah.
Yeah, because you could still have like we said, if they change the rule of 2 to not necessarily mean only 2 Sith, where they are training Sith warriors, or at that point, Bane could live a long time, and you just have these apprentices and these assassins, and and that because
retires. I don't know.
Yeah, because I just feel like, and I could be completely wrong, but I just feel like we're gonna get those type of Sith warriors in High Republic. Like I just I feel like they have to be fighting with lightsabers against somebody. So.
I mean, there's already kind of a precedence with the simple fact that there are Inquisitors, or even before that, like you had Mara Jade, who was basically some of a Sith agent,
Sith assassin,
you could say, Saj Ventress. So it's like you already have more than 2 dark side users that aren't Sith, whatever. So you can just do more of that. It's not totally unheard of.
That's right.
And I mean, yeah, there's so many ways to work around it. So I think you're right. I think it's totally fine if they bring in like some kind of Sith element in High Republic. But yeah, I mean, Darth Bane, and that could be the rumor. It's like really what we think could be a separate series could be just High Republic. It could just be Darth Bane in High Republic.
Man, that would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
That would be awesome. I'm totally down with that. But a series in the 1,000 years before episode 1 would be killer. So okay, so I think our answer mainly is the series, right? Is a
series, yeah.
Whatever's cheaper, right? CG or live action.
Yeah, for sure.
But because I think I don't think because I do love novels and I do love the stories in novels. I just don't think a novel would do this justice. And but the thing is, like, there's a trilogy of novels that were in the expanded universe, right? That people love. I haven't read them. I don't know if you read any of them.
I haven't read them yet. No.
But I mean, people swear by them, saying this we want this Darth Bane in there, right? So there's obviously elements in there you could probably grab and take. So because I am interested in them, I might just skim over the summaries and see if I can get a gist of what the story is about. But that's very similar to what I've heard from the Darth Plagueis book. I heard that's James Luceno, though. He's fantastic. So, but anyway, Darth Bane. Hopefully, these rumors somewhat come true, and we get something from him, because I think he is. I think with Filoni just throwing him out there in the Clone Wars episode really did spark something, and I think it's something they want to go out. So, all right, that's it for this episode. Come back here, hit subscribe right here on YouTube, get more council sessions, of course, our weekly show, and Beyond the Saga, where we talk about these stories in more in depth. We'll be back next time. Thanks for joining. He's Casey Cooley.
See you, everybody.
Thanks so much, everybody. Stay safe out there. Have a great rest of the week. May the Force be with you.